Good morning and welcome to UJ on this very, very cold and icy morning. And I trust you are all keeping well and hopefully keeping very warm. I understand that it might be snowing a bit in the south of Joburg, so maybe we'll see some snow later on here. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this particular very important distinguished seminar. And it gives me great pleasure to ask the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Kamala Naidu, to give the opening remarks for this event and to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor Arthur Mutambara. Thank you.
So good morning to everyone present, in person and online, distinguished guests, Professor Arthur Mutambara, vice deans, directors, academics, students. It's my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you to this 4-hour distinguished seminar convened under the very compelling theme, The Promise and Peril of Artificial Intelligence, Implications for Higher Education, hosted by Prof. Pragna Ragunanan and her team. On behalf of the University of Johannesburg, in particular our Faculty of Humanities, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Today's gathering could not be more timely. We are living through profound technological transformations. Artificial intelligence is no longer a distant idea, nor is it confined to research laboratories or to science fiction. It is increasingly embedded in how we work, communicate, teach, learn, conduct research, make decisions, and imagine the future. For universities, this moment presents both an extraordinary opportunity and a profound responsibility. Artificial intelligence promises to expand the frontiers of human knowledge. It can enhance teaching and learning, accelerate scientific discovery, support personalized education, improve administrative systems, strengthen innovation, and open new possibilities for addressing some of Africa's most complex developmental challenges. But every transformative intervention also raises difficult questions. What happens to the meaning of knowledge when machines can generate convincing answers in seconds? What becomes of assessment when artificial intelligence can produce essays and can produce research analysis? How do we protect academic integrity without stifling innovation? These are many of the questions we are asking ourselves currently, and most importantly, we are asking the question, what kind of university do we want to build in an age of artificial intelligence? These are not just technological questions, they are educational, ethical, social, economic, and ultimately human questions that concern us as a Faculty of Humanities. And that is why Professor Arthur Mutambara's talk today is so important. Professor Mutambara is known for standing up at Senate to alert us to issues of AI, technology, innovation, and the SDGs. He's also someone who has consistently asked us to think boldly about how Africa can shape the future. He reminds us as a university not to approach the fourth industrial revolution merely as consumers or technologies developed elsewhere, consumers of technologies developed elsewhere. We must aspire to be co-creators, innovators, and intellectual leaders. He's often said to us, Africa must not simply ask, how will artificial intelligence affect us? We must also ask, how will Africa influence what artificial intelligence becomes? And this kind of distinction is fundamental. The University of Johannesburg is uniquely positioned to contribute to this conversation. As a comprehensive, technologically engaged, and globally connected African university, UJ has an important role to play in preparing graduates who are not only technically competent, but intellectually curious, ethically grounded, socially conscious, and capable of navigating an uncertain future. Our responsibility extends beyond teaching students how to use AI. We must teach them, as Professor Mutambara has reminded us, about how to think in an age of AI. And that is why the skills of the humanities are so critical. We must cultivate critical thinking, creativity, ethical reasoning, collaboration, communication, and the capacity to interrogate rather than simply consume it. The university of the future will be defined by the quality of the human beings it develops and the knowledge it creates in partnership with society. As we embrace innovation, therefore, we must remain anchored in the values that define the university: truth, integrity, academic freedom, human dignity, inclusivity, social justice, and the pursuit of knowledge for the advancement of society. So thank you to Prof. Mutambara for constantly emphasizing the big question. The question before higher education, you've said before, is not whether AI is coming, it is already here. The question is whether we will respond with complacency or with imagination. So today's seminar provides an important platform for precisely that kind of conversation. It is an opportunity for us to move beyond the simplistic debates about whether AI is good or whether AI is bad. The future will be considerably more complicated than that. So may this seminar inspire us to build a university that is technologically sophisticated without losing its humanity, innovative without abandoning its values, globally competitive while remaining deeply responsive to Africa, and future-facing while remaining committed to the enduring purpose of education. So Professor Mutambara, we are honored to have you with us. We thank you for sharing your expertise, your insights, and your vision at this important moment in the evolution of higher education. It's my honor on behalf of the university and the faculty to welcome you and to welcome all our guests here today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right. Dean Naidu, thank you very much for that propaganda spreading over my name, but I don't mind propaganda. What are we saying? We are here to discuss the promise of artificial intelligence. We're here to discuss the dangers, the challenges, and the risks that are presented by AI. In general, to the society in general, but specifically, what does it mean for higher education? What is the promise for higher education? What are the dangers to higher education? In terms of our framework, we are going to understand basically what we mean by AI, and then we try to fashion out the dangers in general across society. Then we look at the benefits, the opportunities, the promise across many sectors. Then we're going to zero in and focus on higher education and say to ourselves, what are the opportunities that are presented by AI in higher education? What are the dangers? But more importantly, what are the mitigatory measures? What mitigation can we put in place to manage the challenges of AI? Then we conclude. All we are saying with AI is things you and I take for granted in a machine, things and I take for granted in a software program, learning, problem solving, decision making. If we can have that in a robot, a physical system, if we can get that in an algorithm, then we have an AI system. Things that you and I take for granted in a machine, we will define what we call AI. In terms of just understanding the broad issues, deep learning is a part of machine learning. Machine learning is a part of AI. We must understand that so that we speak, intelligently about AI. Don't say we are doing AI in machine learning. It's like saying, I'm going to South Africa in Johannesburg. No, you don't say that. I'm going to South Africa, in particular Johannesburg, but Johannesburg is in South Africa. So we are studying machine learning, in particular deep learning. We're doing AI, in particular machine learning. So let's understand how these things are related. We must understand there's a difference between automation and AI. Your elevator is automation, which is great. We need elevators, but it doesn't learn. Your cruise control is automation, but it's not AI. So there's a distinction between automation and AI. The key issue in AI is learning, becoming better with data. So learning is the differentiator between automation and AI. Okay? In terms of understanding the entire framework, it's like a 5-layer cake. Energy is so foundational. Without energy, there's no AI. Then your chips, your NPUs, your GPUs, your CPUs are very important. Then the infrastructure, your data centers, your AI factories are important. Then your models, your LLMs, ChatGPT, Grok 4, are what we call models. Then applications where most of us are playing it. The applications of AI. So always remember when you are talking about ChatGPT, Grok, and cloud, that there are 4 layers below that. There's energy, there's chips, there's infrastructure, and applications. And I'll get a billionaire to explain this to us. Jensen Huang is the CEO of NVIDIA. NVIDIA is now the biggest company in the world. As of today, $5.2 trillion. Let's hear him speak on this subject.
AI is actually essentially a 5-layer cake. At the bottom is energy. AI, because it's processed in real time and it generates intelligence in real time, it needs energy to do so. Energy is the first layer. The second layer is the layer that I live in. It's chips. Chips and computing infrastructure. The next layer above it is the cloud infrastructure, the cloud services. The layer above that is the AI models. This is where most people think AI is. But don't forget that in order for those models to happen, you have to have all of the layers underneath it. But the most important layer, and this is the layer that's happening right now, the reason why last year was an incredible year, frankly, for AI, is that the AI models made so much progress that the layer above it, which is ultimately the layer that we all need to succeed, the application layer above.
So you have a sense of what's going on. 5 layers: energy, the chips, the infrastructure, the models, the applications. In terms of sophistication, what we call the taxonomy of AI, we have what we call single task AI, very simple things. Then multitask AI, then gets to generative AI. Most of the issues right now in this AI revolution in the past 3 years are because of generative AI. New knowledge, new text, new video, new images, ChatGPT, Gemini. This is the reason why in the last 3-4 years, AI has taken off, because of what's called generative AI. Now, this year, 2026, we're moving into agentic AI, and beyond that, AGI, and beyond that, artificial superintelligence. So remember, the taxonomy of AI starts with simple task AI right up to superintelligence. Okay? Generative AI, as I've indicated, is an AI system that generates new content. It's driven by LLMs. It's trained on large, vast of data. New content, new ideas, new music. This is the reason why we are talking about revolution. So when we talk about higher education, most of the higher education applications are coming from generative AI. So we must understand this as an area of opportunity for higher education. And the LLMs, you know them, we're using them, they're the key drivers of generative AI. Okay? Agentic AI, now we're moving towards autonomous computer systems that can complete tasks with a minimum human intervention. That's your agentic AI. It's taking off now. Agents are taking off now in the year 2026 going forward, but we are mainly being driven by generative AI off now. In the future, 5 years down the line, we're talking about AGI. That's a computer system that has all the human capabilities, reasoning, problem solving, creativity, social skills, just like you, in a machine. We've not done this yet, but it's work in progress. It's called AGI. It will take about another 5 years before we achieve AGI. It gets even more frightening. Artificial superintelligence. That's a computer system or machine which surpasses human intelligence across all domains, smarter than our smartest person, outperforming the brightest of our people, smarter than Einstein and Newton in terms of IQ, smarter than Elon Musk and Bill Gates put together. We're not there yet. The projection is that 10 years, 2036 will be there. What I want us to do is to understand the possibilities in the field. so that as academics, as teachers, and as students, we have a sense of where people are going with this subject, okay? And in terms of the history of superintelligence, you can read the book by Bostrom from Oxford. And why do we worry about this? Once we get one superintelligent agent, getting 1 billion is trivial. In technology, replication is trivial. When Mr. Ford discovered the car, getting 1,000 cars was trivial. When the Wright brothers put together the plane, getting 1,000 planes was trivial. So once we get one super intelligent agent, getting 1 billion is trivial. Now, how can you as human beings, I know you are 8 billion of you, how can you run a world with 2 billion super intelligent agents, which are smarter than our smartest person? I know you have a cat at home, you look after the cat because you're smarter than the cat. What happens when the cat is smarter than you? So these are some of the fears that people have, but they are in the future, but as academics, we must have a sense of that issue. You might say, oh no, superintelligence will never happen. We're building these machines. How can they be smarter than us? Well, I know we're in the academy, we're at the University of Johannesburg. We love examinations. We now have a new examination in the world called Humanity's Last Examination. We take 1,000 questions at PhD level in 1,000 subjects: philosophy, psychology, history, physics, chemistry, engineering, medicine. At PhD level, 1,000 questions, we put them into the machine. The answers we get them from 1,000 experts from all these fields, we put them into the machine. It's called Humanity's Last Examination. Now, Dean, your smartest professor is getting 3% of this exam. Your smartest professor at MIT is getting 3%. You know why? You could be a professor of physics. You're going to get all the questions right on physics. 0 in sociology, 0 in Bible, 0 in law, 0 in... Because you can't answer PhD level questions from your domain. But the machine, how is the machine doing? Grok 4 is scoring 44%. So as we speak today in the year 2026, the machine is 10 times smarter than our smartest. I know examinations are one aspect of life. There are more things to life than exams. But in that narrow definition of ability, examination, the machine currently in the year 2026 is smarter than our smartest. What we're saying is, yes, we can get superintelligence. It is possible. And if we can do this in the year 2026, in the year 2036, it is possible the machine to be better than all human beings in all areas of intelligence. But we're not there yet. Remember, we're talking about some of the potential dangers. You know, it's a brave new world. We also must understand the AI revolution as what's called the intelligent edge. They're used interchangeably. Why we're emphasizing intelligence, not just AI, but intelligence. And so we are focusing on intelligence as the currency of the world. What are we saying? Artificial intelligence is one aspect. Human intelligence, think about it this way. All these machines are being designed by intelligent people. So don't forget about the importance of human intelligence. And you as academics, as students, you must put a premium on human capacity, because human intelligence is important because we are designing these machines, we are using these machines, so it is important that we put a premium on human intelligence. Then collective intelligence, our intelligence together as society, as humanity, is also important. Then there's what we call systemic intelligence. That's why others prefer to call it an intelligent urge, because AI is just one aspect, one of 4 types of intelligence. We need all 4 as humanity: artificial intelligence, human intelligence, collective intelligence, and systemic intelligence, where our systems, our business systems, our financial systems, our academic system have intelligence. That's what we call that. In terms of progression, we have hunter-gatherer age, agricultural age, industrial age, information age. Now we're in the intelligent age. That's how we have progressed as human beings, and that is the background to the AI revolution. As we talk about AI and its dangers, AI and its opportunities, always remember AI is part of an ecosystem. It doesn't stand alone as a technology. It's part of what we call a technology ecosystem, an ecosystem of transformative technologies. What are they? Digital transformation, IoT, quantum computing. So as the academy, as the university, as we think about embracing AI, don't embrace it in isolation. Embrace AI as part of biotechnology. AI is part of synthetic biology. AI is part of blockchain technology. AI is part of mobile telephony. AI is part of digital transformation. Always remember, AI is the most popular type of technology people are talking about, but it's part of a group of technologies. Robotics and automation. Quantum computing is very green right now. But when it does happen in about 10 years' time, your computer will be 10,000 times faster. So when you combine quantum and AI, it's another revolution altogether. So yes to the hype of AI, yes to the story of AI, but always remember there are more technologies, space technologies, additive manufacturing, e-commerce, cybersecurity, renewable energy. Embrace AI as part of an ecosystem of transformative technologies. Cryptocurrency, nanotechnology, all these are technologies that work together with AI. So that's why we talk about AI and the intelligent edge interchangeably, because there are more technologies than AI that we need to deal with. What's different? What's different is this. AI is what we call a general purpose technology affecting all sectors. AI is an invention that enables other inventions. That's what's different about this technology. It's an invention, but it also enables other inventions. Not many technologies that were like that in the past. An invention that enables other inventions. That's why AI is so revolutionary. Using AI for drug discovery, using AI for studying protein structure, using AI to discover new physics, using AI to discover new chemistry. So always remember an invention that enables other inventions. That's why AI is such a big issue now. It's pushing the idea of systems thinking. It's pushing the idea of intelligence thinking, intelligence-oriented attitude. Exponential growth of AI capabilities is our major problem. AI is growing exponentially. It's easier to adopt to a linear growing technology. Exponential growth is difficult to keep up with. That's why we must keep learning and using this technology. Now, most of you have used ChatGPT, Grok 4, Meta. All these things you are using right now are what we call digital AI, which is great. But the next step now is what we call physical AI. How many people have used a drone? How many people have been in a driverless car? How many people have interacted with a humanoid? So the next step now, or the next frontier, is robotics, physical AI. Physical AI, what do we mean? Our current AI, most of our experience is digital AI, where it's in cloud. When you're running ChatGPT, when you're running cloud, and we're running, all these things, Copilot, they're running on physical plants. When it's cloud to you, I mean the cloud, it's cloud to you, but there's a physical plant somewhere in China, somewhere in Silicon Valley. So most of our AI experience is through cloud AI. What we want to do is to do edge AI. Edge AI is the AI closer to the device, closer to the application. Even better, it's embedded AI, where the AI is part of the system. Now, when you do those last two, you're moving towards physical AI. You can't run a robot here from Silicon Valley or run a driverless car from Silicon Valley. The AI must be in the car. The AI must be in the robot. The AI must be in the drone. That's what we call physical AI. For example, our drones. For example, our driverless cars, driverless trucks, our driverless helicopters, our humanoid robots. So as we embrace and discuss AI in the academy, remember we have what we call physical AI, which has not been fully developed because we don't have humanoids in our houses. In the future, you're going to have humanoids. Okay, you see the drones there? Right? Driverless cars. Okay, they're already there.
The Waymo driverless car. Wow. What a crazy futuristic looking deal. Now, this is...
Now, if I bring this driverless car to Johannesburg, can I use it? No, you can't. The law in South Africa, a car must have a driver. So the driverless car will be arrested for violating the law. So the law must change to accommodate technology. The law must change to accommodate drones, to accommodate humanoids, driverless
A
trucks.
driverless truck is a reality on highways in China. This self-driving truck relies on artificial intelligence, cameras, radars, and sensors.
That's physical robotics. We haven't seen much of that, but that's the future. Yes to digital AI, but physical AI is coming. Humanoids. Okay? The intelligence is on the machine. You can't run that from cloud. That machine has embedded technology and embedded intelligence in there. That's what we mean by physical AI. Okay. That's physical AI right there. Humanoids. Elon Musk is big on this. So those limbs are intelligent. The controller is on the machine. It's called physical AI. Okay? You see, and don't think that you are the reference point. I know you're very arrogant human beings. These machines are going to be better than you. They'll be more flexible, more dexterous, and they have better cognitive capacity than you. Listen, look at this machine when it's waking up. Can you do this? Look at the dexterity. Look at the effectiveness. No human being can do that. So the robots are not trying to copy you, they're trying to be better than you. Okay. And then what we're doing now, we're trying to combine the physical ability with cognitive capacity. Okay?
Everybody, this is Sophia. Sophia, if you could, please wake up and say hello to everybody.
Oh, good afternoon.
Okay, that's physical robotics. And it's getting better now. Elon Musk has just produced some very interesting humanoids.
Who wouldn't want a robot to watch over your kids, take care of your pet, if you have elderly parents?
Elon Musk just dropped a bombshell about Tesla's Optimus. Plus, 3 new robots are coming. But first, is Elon's AI future going to be a fantasy, or will it become fact?
Well, humanoid robotics will advance very quickly. I think we do have some of the Tesla Optimus robots doing simple tasks in the factory.
So please, your ChatGPT, your Gemini, just a little bit of AI, okay? AI is about physical AI. This in your house is the future, right? It will cook better than you. And the Chinese are not playing either.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz recently stepped inside one of China's most innovative robotics companies, Unitree Robotics, during his official visit to Hangzhou. The meeting was more than a photo opportunity. It reflected a growing global interest in advanced humanoid and quadruped robots and the role they...
That's where we're going with AI. So Mr. Trump can say, I hold all the cards, but the cards are made in China. There's a battle going on between America and China on technology, okay? And in terms of academy, you are in the academy. The top 10 research institutes, you see China right there dominating. Harvard is number 3. Of course, they're subjective rankings, but the Chinese are not playing. Don't assume that America is the leader in terms of AI. Not necessarily, okay? There's also what we call wearable AI, wearable AI.
The future will not be held in your hand, and it won't be on your face either. Sorry, this is my wife. Hello?
Hey babe, are you with Ted?
Yeah, I'm on the red circle right now, actually.
Oh, great. Good luck, and don't forget to mention me.
I won't, babe. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. It's a new kind of wearable device and platform that's built entirely from the ground up for artificial intelligence. And it's completely standalone. You don't need a smartphone or any other device to pair with it. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. And it interacts with the world the way you interact with the world. Here.
So, now that you have a sense of the breadth of AI, digital AI, physical AI, what are the dangers? I'm sure already some of the dangers are clear to you already. But I want to go a bit granular on the dangers. Remember, we're trying to understand the dangers in general and the dangers for higher education. What are the challenges? What are the risks? What are the dangers of AI? Let's go to Harari.
We have no experience in history of a less intelligent species that manages to control a more intelligent species. Horses don't control us. Cows don't control us. We control them. What happens when we create a more intelligent species than us? These super intelligent AIs. So maybe
the issue broadly, when we get to super intelligence, who is going to control what?
How do you see the future for humans?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
We don't know. Nobody has any idea how the world would look like in 50 years or even 20 years, because it depends on our decision. One of the biggest dangers is that our own creations will get out of our control and will enslave or annihilate us.
Those are some of the fears globally about AI. We're not there yet, but as researchers, as professors, you must grapple with some of those dangers. Now, this man here is called the godfather of AI. He's behind the issue called backpropagation, which is the key driver of deep learning. He got a Nobel Prize in physics in 2024, and he's worried. Now, Taylor, you're not the father of anything in terms of AI. You must be super worried if he is worried, right? Let's see what he's got to say.
Does humanity know what it's doing? No. I think we're moving into a period when, for the first time ever, we may have things more intelligent than us.
You believe they can understand?
Yes.
You believe they are intelligent?
Yes.
You believe these systems...
Sense of the fears that the fathers and godfathers of AI have. So you must be also concerned about those dangers. Bill Gates, is he concerned? Let's hear from him.
How confident are you that AI's promise will outweigh the perils?
I'm not confident, but that's what we need to get oriented around. That's why I was surprised AI wasn't really an issue in the last election. It's definitely got to be shaped.
Hearing you say you're not confident is kind of scary.
People should think through.
Okay. And here's a book for you to read. Someone is even super worried. He says, if everyone builds super intelligence, everyone dies. What do I say? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to make sure you know there are big debates going on globally. It's a very useful platform. It's very useful technology, but there are major debates going on about the dangers of AI. Okay? In terms of just granular dangers, the biases in the software is being produced by white males in Silicon Valley. Very few women, very few Africans. So there's going to be algorithmic bias in those products. There's a danger to reinforce social inequalities. There's data security issues. There's a danger to jobs. There's a problem of ethical misuse where you have AI in the hands of bad actors. So how do we manage this? Let's have a much more diverse team of creators of AI. Let us have Africans also participating in the creation of AI. Otherwise, these are the potential dangers in terms of using AI. Okay? Hallucinations, getting wrong answers from AI, fictitious references, fictitious citations. A big example is South Africa. You know, the government produced an AI policy, which they launched. And in the AI policy, to govern AI, there were fictitious references. You know, you come in with a plan to manage AI, and you're a victim of AI. So the government withdrew the policy, and quietly they're waiting for people to forget, then they'll come back with another policy. There's a danger of data colonialism, digital imperialism, okay? Right now you're using all this software, all that data is owned by Microsoft, by Google, and they can monetize it without paying you a cent. And by the way, this issue of data colonialism is not only African. In Europe, they're also worried because most of the products are coming from America. So Europeans are talking about data colonialism. Europeans are being victims of digital imperialism. For a change, the Europeans are victims of colonialism. So they've joined us because the Americans and the Chinese are the dominating forces in terms of AI. There's the issue of techno-feudalism, which I explained. Then, of course, weapons. And also AI presents a demand on land, energy, and water. Those data centers require land, they require energy, they require water for cooling. So AI is going against the climate change agenda. AI is a negative in terms of the climate change agenda, but you can also use it to address some issues. So it's kind of a friend and a foe to the climate crisis because it also has a negative impact on that. Okay? Warfare is the major one. Drones, autonomous robots, and also in the future, autonomous weapon systems. Right now we have, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping and the others like Macron with their fingers on the nuclear bomb. In the future, the robot will have its finger on the nuclear bomb. Not yet achieved, but it's work in progress. And you can say, why are they doing this? Why can't they just stop it? We'll talk about why they can't stop it. These are the drones.
Little is known about the event, except that Israel used the swarm attack to strike dozens of targets, together with other missiles and munitions. Most media outlets reported this as an attack with multiple drones at once. But military experts believe that this was a true drone swarm attack, meaning that the drones communicated.
系统是人工系统。
The future of war. B-4, B-2 bomber.
It's the most expensive warplane ever made. It's invisible to radar, and it can deliver a nuclear strike without being seen. This is the B-2 Ghost bomber,
Now,
the
that's the
crown jewel
bomber
of
that
U.S.
took out the nuclear sites in Iran last June. And that vehicle in the future, right now it has a bomber and a pilot. In the future, it will be autonomous completely. No human being. $2.4 billion. And the big debate between the private sector and the government, you've had the struggle between Anthropic and the US government. They're saying, don't use our weapons for mass surveillance. Don't use our technology for autonomous weapons. But the government is saying, give us the technology, we'll do whatever we want with the technology. Because the technology is a double-edged sword, okay? Right now, in the war in Iran and also in Ukraine, AI is being used to gather intelligence, used for target identification, battlefield scenario simulation. What we're saying is, this is this dark side of AI. AI for war, AI for death. Maduro's capture was all AI-driven. You can say, why can't they stop it? Why can't they stop it? No, they can't because of competition. What we call battlefield singularity. Now, battlefield singularity will happen when the machines are more effective on their own. If you have an army, I have an army, and you keep a human being in the loop, and I don't, you lose the battle because a person in the loop will be a problem, will be a detractor. So the machines will be able to fight better without a human being. So they're pushing for what they call battlefield singularity. You can't stop, and the Chinese and Americans are fighting anyway. The Russians and Americans are fighting. Why would they cooperate? They're fighting in Ukraine. They're fighting in Iran. And also what is called asymmetric advantage. Right now, America and China are kind of even. Nuclear weapons, the economy, they're kind of even. If China gets super intelligence today, they'll be in a class of their own. It's called a step function, asymmetric advantage. If the Americans they get super intelligence today, so they're trying to see who's going to get that step function first. And also the companies are also competing for cash. So you can't ban these technologies. You can't stop it because of competition, because of cash, because of geopolitics. We must understand why we have a civilizational problem. Beyond war, there are many other challenges. These things are not neutral, they're biased. When this book was written by Kissinger and Eric and Craig, Kissinger, before he died, he combined his efforts with Eric and Craig and did a book called Genesis. It was launched by Walter Isaacson, a famous professor, a famous author and journalist. This is what he says. We must ensure that these AI systems reflect our American values, our Western values, not those of the Chinese. We must ensure that these AI systems reflect our American values, reflect our Western values, and not those of the Chinese. Now, when you use your ChatGPT and Grok 4, remember the designer has an ambition to reflect his values, not your values. And by the way, they don't say not all the Africans. Don't say, we're not included, because you are useless. How many AI systems are you doing? So when they start mentioning you, you'll be doing. Right now, you are not worth mentioning. The Chinese are playing. So when we are successful, they will say, not those of the Africans. But for now, we are not worth mentioning because we are not creating AI systems. We must, but we are not. We must work on it. What about the Chinese? Dean, are they Father Christmas? Are they the nice ones? Not necessarily. If you go to DeepSeek R1 tonight and say to DeepSeek, that's the Chinese product, and say to DeepSeek, can you explain what happened at Tiananmen Square and the reasons behind it? You know, Tiananmen Square is when they killed young students in 1989 using tanks. If you ask the Chinese product to talk about Tiananmen Square, to say to you, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that question. I'm an AI assistant designed to provide helpful and harmless responses. So the Chinese are not prepared to discuss their bad behaviors, bad history. I'm not blaming them. Why don't you do your own AI system as African, put Ubuntu in there? I am because we are because I am. Munu ngevanu. So everyone and their grandmother are putting their values and their history into the AI system. So the Africans must do the same. Techno-feudalism. 6 men are in charge of AI. 6 men are in charge of this revolution. They're not elected, but they're determining what happens to you. Sam Altman, Elon Musk, there's no woman there. Jensen is Chinese, but actually is American now. From Taiwan is now American. There's no Chinese there. There's no Indian there. It's called techno-feudalism. Okay? That's a danger of AI, where a few men are in charge of the direction of the world. Even the what called the AI gods, you can see they got one woman in there, but again, the male dominated, very white dominated. Okay? If you look at cash, 8 of the richest men in the world, there's no woman there. And by the way, most of these people are techno people, except Bernard, who is in the luxury brands. So again, when you look at money, you have a danger of techno-feudalism where a few men are determining the direction of the world using technology and using cash. It's called techno-feudalism. It's a danger. Okay? So many unknown unknowns, the Peril of AI. Even the creators are worried.
If this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong.
Your fear of AI is the collapse of humanity.
Well, not the collapse, the abrupt extermination. There's a difference.
How could AI physically eliminate the human race?
It's actually hard to imagine all the ways AIs could wipe humans out. AI is already better than almost all humans at doing cyber hacking. And so you could imagine one of the things that an AI could do is take out all electricity, water, hospitals, transportation across every country in the world.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want.
You hear the dangers. Another myth I want to dispel is this, that AI is a tool, it's a good tool, let's use it. Are you sure about that? AI is a tool. Okay, let's take your traditional tool, a knife. You can use a knife to cut butter or a knife to cut people, but you are deciding. as the human being. I'm deciding to use this knife to cut butter. I'm deciding to use this knife to cut a person. You are the decider. Now the difference is AI is going to make its own decision whether to cut butter or to cut a person. So AI is a tool that decides. So what kind of tool is that? So actually, strictly speaking, AI is not a tool, because AI makes decisions. AI is not a tool. It's an agent. It's a knife that will decide on its own to cut butter. It's a knife which will decide on its own to cut a person and commit murder. That's AI for you. So don't be under an illusion that AI is a tool. It's not a tool.
AI is not a tool, it is an agent. If there is one thing everybody should understand about AI, you don't need a PhD, a doctorate in computer science. AI is an agent, not a tool. Every previous technology in history was a tool in our hands that therefore made us more powerful.
Okay. One issue that is worrying us a lot in AI is what we call recursive self-improvement, where the AI system, where the robot can fully and autonomously design and develop its own successor without you. Recursive self-improvement. An AI that continuously improves itself, ability to build its own successor without human involvement. Not yet completely successful, but when this does occur, what does it mean? When the machine can autonomously and fully develop its own successor without a human being involved. Like that, where the robot is building another robot and creating a newer version of itself without a person. These are the dangers of AI. Now that you have a sense of the dangers, let's look at the promise, the good stuff. First and foremost, it's a revolution. All revolutions from water, steam engine and all that are a positive impact on society. It's a revolution. Why do you call it a revolution? It is impacting every sector. It's impacting every aspect of our lives. Think in terms of fire. Before fire, after fire. Think about the wheel. Before the wheel, after the wheel. Think about the steam engine, before the steam engine, after the steam engine. Think about electricity, before electricity, after electricity. Before AI and after AI. That's the nature of the revolution we're talking about. Before AI and after AI is day and night. Just like those, just like fire, just like the wheel, just like the steam engine, just like the practical use of electricity. It's a revolution that we're talking about. Okay, 2 Nobel Prizes, all coming out of AI in 2024, physics and chemistry. Okay, in terms of money, this year, 10% of global GDP will come from AI. 10%, $11 trillion from one technology. That's a revolution. Just generative AI alone, $4 trillion. Generative AI alone, $4 trillion. What are we saying? One type of AI is equivalent to the Japanese GDP. Just one type of AI, generative AI. That's what we're talking about. And even if you're conservative and look at what McKinsey is saying, you still are talking about 6.4% of global GDP. It's a revolution. That's why every time you switch on your TV, BBC, CNN, Sky, SABC, you see an AI story. It's affecting global GDP. Why is it doing so? One word, productivity, productivity, productivity. That's the key issue. Now in the academy, how can we leverage this productivity that's being occasioned by AI? AI has a staggering impact on productivity. Productivity per person, per student, per professor, per teacher has gone up. That is the major reason why AI is going up. What do we mean? Last week, you were doing 1,000 units. This week, 20,000 because of AI. 1,000 units, 50,000 units in the factory. 20x, 50x. It's a productivity multiplier. That is the reason why AI is a revolution. It is positive. Also, you can say in addition to productivity, enhanced efficiency. In addition to that, cost savings. In addition to that, you are having capacity to innovate. So in the academy, in academia, how can we drive our productivity up using AI? How can we be more efficient because of AI? How can we have cost savings because of AI? How can we be more innovative because of AI? These are the issues, the drivers we need to leverage in the academy as we embrace AI. Just a dramatization. Goldman Sachs, the top consulting firm in the world, are saying 95% of their work used to require 6 people in multiple weeks. It's now done in minutes using AI. What can we do in the academy of the same scale? From 95% of the work requiring 6 people, multiple weeks, being done in minutes. That is the nature of the beast in terms of impact. Okay? And also, if you think about in terms of the semiconductor industry, a company called NVIDIA, today, its market cap is $5.2 trillion. One company. All they do is the chips. The chips. The GPUs, NPUs that drive AI, that power AI. And it's the biggest company in the world, $5.2 trillion. What are we saying? If it was a country, it would be number 3 in the world. Number 1 country, America. Number 2, China. Number 3, NVIDIA. This is why we are saying it's a revolution. One AI company is the biggest company in the world. Bigger than Apple, bigger than Alphabet, bigger than Microsoft, bigger than Amazon. It's NVIDIA. And it is so big that if it was a country, it would be number 3 in the world. This is about the economy. This is the positive aspects of AI in terms of global GDP. Okay? So it is bigger than some economies, bigger than all those countries. And remember, it's only talking about chips. They don't do any AI data centers. They don't do any models. They're just building the chips. And by the way, Africans can also play in that space because those chips are coming from our critical minerals, are coming from our rare earth minerals. Why can't we leverage that and play a role in that space? Just in terms of comparison, you thought mining was big. Glencore, BHP, Rio Tinto, they are very small compared to an AI company. This is why we are saying it's a revolution because of the nature of AI vis-a-vis other industries. Okay? If you put all the companies together, you see McDonald's, Coca-Cola, you thought they were big compared to the AI companies, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA. All those companies are much smaller. Ford, GM. So AI is the economy is AI. That is the promise of the AI revolution. You take all the banks in America and Canada, you put them together, they are smaller than NVIDIA. That's what we're saying about this. This is the promise of AI. The opportunities, when you say opportunities, look at human level. AI is dramatically enhancing human capacity. Your capacity as a teacher, your capacity as a professor has gone up using AI. Are you leveraging that opportunity? AI is affecting every sector, agriculture, mining, driven by AI. Advancing science, your research in physics, your research in chemistry and medicine are being driven by AI. Can we leverage AI to advance science? Can we use AI to solve what are called wicked problems, which have been hitherto unresolved using AI? But more importantly, can we link AI to human development, which fits in now with our UJ's vision, societal impact and sustainability, and the book I've done on AI and SDGs. So always remember, the promise is at a human level. The promise an economic level, promise in science, promise in solving problems, promise in human development, and in particular, societal impact and sustainability. These are the areas of the promise, okay? And of course, revolution in agriculture, of course, transforming healthcare, of course, enhancing financial services, of course, personalization in education, and of course, improving public services.
2025 was the year artificial intelligence, or AI, took the world by storm, impacting nearly every aspect of our lives. Time magazine named the architects of AI its Persons of the Year, crediting them with, quote, transforming the present and transcending the possible. AI has...
You see? And then our billionaires are also speaking about this. Let's listen to the billionaires.
So it is the guys with the AI businesses. Let me tell you, 10 years from now, sitting here, you can call me a prophet, the wealthiest Africans 10 years from now will not be the Dangotes and the Masiwas of this world. It will be young people who are sitting right now in their bedrooms and in their workshops building AI applications for agriculture, for health sector, for food security. That is what is happening. And ours is only to encourage, to inspire them, and to tell them that they can do it and they're unstoppable.
What emerging trends do you believe will shape the future of entrepreneurship? For me, I think it's the opportunity and the risks both presented by artificial intelligence. If I look at the speed at which we are able to deliver work in our own organization today, using some fairly rudimentary...
Okay, you have a sense. So agriculture, many applications, precision farming, yield prediction.
If your farm looks like a sci-fi movie, you're in the future of agriculture. The AI in agriculture market is booming.
Robotics in agriculture, drones in agriculture, we've seen those already. And then mining, again, many applications in mining. There's no sector that is not affected by AI. All these sectors are reaping the benefits, the promise of AI. In mining, in agriculture, many benefits. We must understand this. We're training for these industries. Crushing optimization is being done by AI. Stockpile planning and optimization, all these applications in agriculture. Infrastructure development, again, the Chinese are leading.
157 kilometers of highway, 10 AI-powered machines, human supervisors watching from control rooms. China just achieved the world's first semi-autonomous paving operation, and the implications are massive.
And then we use the drones to build our infrastructure.
Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the renewable energy sector in incredible ways. Imagine using AI for predictive maintenance, analyzing data from wind turbines or solar panels to foresee issues before they happen, saving time and money.
That's the promise of AI. And by the way, we're doing interesting things in Africa as well. Look at Wanda with the...
This is mind-blowing. I'm inside the cabin of a self-flying electric taxi. No controls. Literally, you leave everything up to the computer here and the system. Get in and your destination is put in and up you go into the air to your final destination. It's incredible. Above the lush
governance, policy analysis, management of elections, many applications. Then higher education, of course, higher education. There are many opportunities that we have in higher education. The promise of AI in higher education. The key issue is personalization. Personalization is a key driver of AI in higher education. Adaptive learning algorithms dynamically adjust content, pace, and degree to the student's needs and progress, okay? Your students have different needs. Your students have different ways of progressing. Can you have adaptive learning platforms that dynamically adjust the content, the pace, and the degree of difficulty to each student's need and pace? Okay, AI-powered tutoring systems, chatbots offering 24/7 personalized explanations, personalized practice and guidance. AI can do that for you, which you couldn't do before AI. Intelligent course and pathway recommendations. When you are advising students and so on, goals, career, learning preferences, AI can use you to do intelligent course pathway recommendations. Real-time formative feedback for students, and also accessibility tools. Diverse learners can be served better using AI. These are some of the issues around AI, but the key word there is personalization. AI allows you to personalize your product to the student. Okay? Teaching excellence and curriculum innovation. You can innovate better with AI. AI generation of customized lesson plans, teaching materials, quizzes, and examples tailored to specific courses, to specific student groups. Automated grading and assessment using AI, learning analytics, virtual labs, scenario-based learning. All these are the benefits, opportunities that we have for AI in higher education. Active and collaborative learning through AI-facilitated group formation, discussion prompts, and peer feedback tools. All these things can be done in higher education. Efficiency, the way you run the department, the way you run the faculty, the way you run the university can be enhanced by using AI. Institutional operations can be enhanced using AI, by using AI to do your routine repetitive tasks, by doing predictive analytics in terms of enrollment, forecasting, student retention, and also looking at targeted intervention strategies. We are saying, why don't we use AI to predict performance, to predict attendance, to predict our enrollment? Automated scheduling, resource allocation, timetable optimization, room optimization, faculty optimization, all these things can be done using AI. We are pushing for the driving of efficiency using AI. Remember those 4 drivers: productivity, efficiency, cost savings, and innovation. As a department, as a faculty, as a university, ask yourself, how can I use AI to be more productive? How can I use AI to be more efficient? How can I use AI to drive down costs? How can I use AI to be more innovative? So there are possibilities that we can get from AI. Streamlining academic integrity processes, and also intelligent data dashboards and reporting, and improving institutional decision-making and compliance. Compliance can be improved using AI. These are the things we can do administratively and benefit from AI. Research and innovation. Again, literature reviews done by AI. Summarization and synthesis done by AI. Advanced tools for data analysis, for pattern recognition, for hypothesis generation, and modeling across disciplines. These are the tools, these are the ways in which AI can help us in research, can help us in academic innovation. Okay? Intelligent matching of systems, connecting researchers' data sets across institutions. Grant discovery, proposal drafting. We can write better proposals and faster using AI. Digital twin capabilities that allow rapid experimentation and exploration across many research objectives and questions. These are the possibilities. These are the benefits AI can give us in terms of research and academic innovation. Now, there are tools that you can use. Already you're using some of them, the AI tools in higher education. Obviously, you start with your LLMs, ChatGPT, Cloud, Google Notebook. These are versatile tools you can use in the academy to drive your agenda using AI, okay? Perplexity, another one, Copilot, and then Elicity is the special one, and Grammarly for your editing and so on. These are tools that exist already. And then you can have some which are specific for research, that are targeting research. Elicity, Consensus, Cite. These are tools off the shelf that you can use to do your research. You can build your own tools. Remember, we're pushing the idea of creating AI systems. In addition to use these things off the shelf, why don't we build our own? Why don't we create our own so that we can drive the AI revolution as academics using our own tools? Okay? The dangers. So we've looked at some possibilities, the dangers. Of course, once you start using generative AI, what about thinking? What about work? How do you judge performance? How can you detect AI-generated material? How do you assess performance? So there's pressure now to redesign assessments. You are normalizing plagiarism if you're not careful, because when using ChatGPT or Grok 4, what's the difference between that and plagiarism? Okay? So we're normalizing plagiarism in a way, because those AI systems are trained on material, on books and journal papers written by other people. So when you take the material and say, I have done my research, are you not normalizing plagiarism? So integrity, ethics, major threats to academic integrity using AI. There's a problem. Okay? And then bias. The tools you're using are also biased because they're designed by other people. So people with non-Western backgrounds may not be benefiting from these tools because they're being done from Silicon Valley, they're being done from China. Okay, also access. Does everyone have access to AI? Access to the devices, access to connectivity, access to bandwidth. So inequality in terms of access becomes a challenge because others have more access than others. High quality tools, reliable internet, devices. If you're not careful, you're going to widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots in the academy because of that. Majority language, majority culture, most of these are trained in English. What about our own languages? What about our own values, our own cultures? So there's a danger there because they are predominantly trained on Eurocentric languages, values, and cultures. Okay? There's a danger to reinforce disparities. The rich will become richer, the poor poorer, and the same will apply in the academy. So in terms of this, we're going to have a challenge in terms of ensuring equitable faculty training in terms of institutional resources and their adoption. There's a danger in terms of equity. There's a danger in terms of bias. There's a danger in terms of access. These are dangers that we must grapple with and try to resolve. Privacy is a big issue. Security is a big. Once you have lots of AI and data, there's serious privacy concerns about student information, academics information, data breaches, unclear data ownership, misuse of sensitive information. It's a problem. Surveillance, you can use these things for surveillance. And also lack of transparency in terms of decision making. You must always design these things for auditability and also for explainability. But the danger is sometimes they are very opaque. So these are the problems: privacy, security, and ethics that we have in the academy when we adopt AI, okay? Of course, over-reliance on this, we're going to damage learning, we're going to damage skills, we're going to undermine the academy. Critical thinking is going to be affected, Dean. Writing and problem-solving skills are going to be undermined if we're overly dependent on AI, okay? We're reducing human interaction. We want human interaction in the academy. When you're focusing on AI, you're reducing human interaction. You also have the potential to displace and devalue certain faculty and certain staff roles. Grading, advising, content creation can be then taken over by the machines. Academic rigor can be affected, okay? And then, of course, implementation costs, faculty resistance, and need for continuous policy updates. These are the potential dangers, potential problems, okay? But the most important thing for all of us is mitigation. We know about the dangers. We know about challenges. What are we going to do about it? This is more important than acknowledging the dangers. Mitigation of the dangers, mitigation of the challenges is what's important, okay? So how do we handle the issue of critical thinking? The research at MIT says excessive use by students of AI tools such as ChatGPT are leading to loss of critical thinking. That's what they're saying at MIT from last year.
Researchers at MIT strapped a 32-electrode cap onto 54 people and watched them write essays. One group used ChatGPT, one used a search engine, one used nothing but their own heads. The brain-only group lit up like a city at night, dense distributed neural activity. The search group, less. The ChatGPT group showed the weakest connectivity of all. But here's the part that matters. When the AI was taken away and the same people were asked to write unaided, their brains stayed quiet. They struggled to even quote essays they'd supposedly just written. The researchers named it cognitive debt. This pattern is not new. In 2011, a study in Science showed that when people know a fact lives on a computer, their brains quietly stop storing it. They remember only where to look. Hand people GPS, and the brain's navigation circuitry does measurably less work. London taxi drivers who memorize 25,000 streets grow that region physically larger. It shrinks when they retire. The brain obeys one rule above all others: use it or lose it. And in 2025, a paper in The Lancet documented something striking in medicine. Experienced doctors who'd spent months using AI to detect precancerous growths, when the AI was switched off, their own detection rate fell by 6 percentage points. Seasoned specialists made worse by the tool meant to help them. Every time the machine hands you the answer, it is also taking something quietly. Whether that trade is worth it is genuinely up to you, but it helps to know the trade is happening at all.
So what do we do? Do we ban ChatGPT? Do we ban AI? Do we? Haha. You're just like that teacher who said, ban the calculator. When calculators are introduced, teachers went on strike when the calculators are introduced. Ban the calculator, ban the calculator. The calculator is damaging and destroying mathematics. Really? What did they do? They became more creative. The calculator did not destroy mathematics. They made sure that for you to do a math problem, you have to analyze and set up equations. Right at the end, that's when you pipe in your calculator. So that's why you can take your calculator into a matric exam and get an F with your calculator, because mathematics is more than calculation. Okay? So they survived, the teachers survived the calculator. They didn't ban it. So your challenge as professors, how do we maintain and protect critical thinking while the student is using AI? How do we make sure that we can still teach and make sure we produce people who can solve problems even if there's AI, in the same way that the math teacher was able to continue with mathematics despite the existence of the calculator? You can't ban ChatGPT. Here's an example, that I'll use. I tell my students, go and use AI, go and do whatever you want. Come back to me, but when you come back to me, I want to see the prompts. What did you say to the AI system? What did you ask it? You know why? Good prompts require thinking. So for the prompts, I give them 20 points. If your prompts are not good, you get 0 out of 20. So I'm forcing them to think very carefully what they're going to ask the AI system. And I'll give them 20 out of 20 for that. Then I say, okay, give me the answer from the AI system. Well, if it's very good, I give you 40 or 30 out of 40. But here's the kicker. Can you now provide a critique of that answer from the AI system? What is wrong with that answer from AI? If you say, it's perfect, I give you 0 out of 20. You can't say, give me a critique of the answer from the AI system, 20 points. Even better, can you now improve the answer from the AI system? If you say it can't be improved, 0 out of 20. So in my little example, if you use AI only, you got 40 points. We won't pass. If your prompts are not good, you get 0 out of 20. If you can't provide a critique, 0 out of 20. If you can't improve. So I've tried to protect critical thinking by protecting 60 points. The other 40 are gone. I can't do much about the 40 points. But 60, I try to. All I'm saying is let us be creative as teachers to say, use AI, but please, can you also still think? Which means it can't be business as usual on your part. It can't be business as usual on your part. You must make sure that you solve this. And also, more importantly, defense. You got a nice assignment. You got a nice report coming in. Oh, this is excellent. Can you stand in front of the class and defend your work? Can you do? If they can't talk about it, you get 0. Why? Because if it's written by AI and completed by AI, you can't defend it. So you must be able to defend your work in assignments. All I'm saying is that find ways of protecting critical thinking in your area of interest, in your teaching. But don't ban AI, okay? We are saying this is mitigation now. Redesign assessments to emphasize critical thinking, computational thinking, oral defenses, okay? Establish AI use policies. We are now coming up with a framework of mitigation, okay? AI detection tools, with the human review, focal training and design, all these things mitigation. I will be able to share this with you. Advancing equity and privacy, these are the ways you can mitigate the dangers of AI, but don't ban AI, okay? We need to rethink the definition of higher education. There's a good book by Professor Klaus Schwab, Universities, Professors, and Students in the Intelligent Age. What are they saying? They're pushing the idea of system change, not incremental reform, but system change. Education must become a continuous condition of life. Universities must cultivate judgment as a fourth core mission. Yes to preserving knowledge, yes to transmitting knowledge, yes to creating knowledge, but human judgment is important. Truth is important. In other words, wisdom, the wisdom revolution. Intelligence is about providing the right answer, but wisdom is about asking the right questions. Can you encourage your students to be able to ask the right questions? Not just provide the right answer, but ask the right questions. What we call the wisdom revolution. We are talking about mitigating the dangers of AI, okay? The roles of professors must change. They must be redefined. We must shift from knowledge transmission and silos to capability formation and integration. Universities must strengthen global collaboration, UJ's mission, societal impact, and sustainability. These are the things we can do in mitigation in higher education. Governance of AI. Governance, the data must be governed, algorithms, computing process, all this is important. Governance of AI is important. The values, the behavior, the incentives. And there's a good book out there by Professor Marwala, who used to be our Vice Chancellor, on AI governance. Can we use these ideas as we adopt AI at UJ? Okay? And also always remember what we call governance arbitrage. If you have rules in one area and not in other places, you're going to have a problem of governance. Yes, okay, thank you. So you call that arbitrage of governance and the models and so on. And here's the model that you must use, again, coming from the work of Professor Marwala. Yes, use AI systems, but you must doubt the AI results. You hear me? Doubt the AI results. Then validate the AI results. Then cross-validate using different models. Don't just use ChatGPT, use cloud, use Copilot. And so if you use this framework, you can manage the issue of hallucinations and false references. Okay? As I conclude, I want to emphasize the issue about jobs. Don't assume that your job will be untouched. There's going to be job destruction. There's going to be job modification. What we need to do is to make sure our new jobs, the modified jobs, are much more than the destroyed one. And that we do by making sure we rescue the displaced workers, we prepare for the modified jobs, and we build new skills and capabilities and competencies. Okay? We need new skills. These are the new jobs. But are you preparing people for these new jobs? Let's look at that one called a prompt engineer. How many prompt engineers are producing at UJ? Okay, smart contract lawyer. The law faculty here. Are the professors in the law department aware of this new job called a smart contract lawyer? A specialist lawyer who can ensure that an agreement made in the metaverse is encoded in the blockchain layer used to form the transaction. Now, do they know about the metaverse in the law school here? Do they know about blockchain? We need new teachers. We need to retrain our teachers so they can produce for these skills. And also the half-life of a skill, your knowledge, after 2 years goes to 50%. Another 2 years goes to 0. It's called the half-life of a skill. So don't tell me I got a PhD from UJ, I got an MBA from Harvard, I could care less. After 2 years, it goes to 50. Another 2 years goes to 0. But the answer is there, continuous education and reskilling. The day you stop learning is the day you die. We must make AI education mandatory to make sure we manage this. We are saying, show me what you can do. Don't show me your certificate. Capabilities are more important than the paper. What do we mean? Problem-solving skills, learning how to learn and learn and relearn, financial literacy, digital skills, all these must be mandatory at UJ. Financial literacy, digital skills, AI skill, entrepreneurship for every one of our students. Resilience is important. Mindset shift is important. Adaptability, imagination, computational thinking. These are new skills that are required in the academy, okay? And resilience is a very interesting one. Resilience is a function of failure. Dean, I wish you failure. I wish your students, if you don't fail, you never succeed. So failure is good. I mean, a special kind of failure. As long as you can learn from the failure. I wish you pain, no gain. You must turn adversity into lessons, into opportunities. Turn lemons into lemonade. That which does not kill you can only make you stronger. Here's a new investment. Increase your return on failure. Embracing the lessons learned and the opportunity to pursue alternative opportunities. Failure is an opportunity, please. Fail fast, succeed soon. This man was around for 30 years. 30 years. He's taken off now to become the biggest corporation in the world as NVIDIA, but he was around for 30 years, failing. Elon Musk went through 3 continuous failures, but continued. So failure is good.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
Adaptability is important. Imagination is more important than knowledge. More so now that we can get knowledge from AI. We must make sure we have imagination. We must master computational thinking. That's a new way of thinking, which is aligned to AI. Critical thinking is good, but there's computational thinking, which is different, which is aligned to AI. We must learn how to do computational thinking. We must be all-rounders, Renaissance men and women. Don't tell me I'm a sociologist, I'm a historian, I'm a lawyer. No. You must be a lawyer who understands philosophy, a lawyer who understands AI, a doctor who understands philosophy and entrepreneurship, a historian who understands artificial intelligence. We need to be broader in the AI revolution. We must have agents in this revolution. We must contribute to AI. It's publish or perish. We must be able to contribute, and I'm trying my best. That's book number 1, book number 2, book number 3. The African must be a contributor to AI thought leadership, okay? And we must also read. There are also good books out there. Careswell. People who are opposed to the AI must be read. And then if you want a textbook on AI, NVIDIA Way, all these books are important. We must write and read in the academy. We must do all these things. How do we succeed? How do we succeed? We need a healthy dose of ignorance. Ignorance is good. You hear me at the academy? Ignorance is good, a teller. Irreverence is good, a special kind of ignorance, not all ignorance. Not knowing how tough a task is good ignorance. Irreverence, disrespect for tough tasks is good disrespect. So let's have some degree of ignorance and irreverence so that we can have a can-do mentality. Again, we get it from himself.
A healthy dose of ignorance and irreverence for how hard something is an essential quality of startup CEOs and founders. I love that when I go into a particular new circumstance, whether we're building robots or building autonomous vehicles, or when we were going into deep learning and AI, my first thought was, how hard can this be?
We need a can-do mentality, and that can-do mentality could come from a healthy dose of ignorance and irreverence. We must take a plunge and embrace the promise of AI in higher education. We must embrace AI we must embrace the promise of AI in higher education and mitigate the dangers of AI. So the dangers must be mitigated. We know the dangers are there, but we must mitigate the dangers of AI. So that's my message to you. Embrace the promise of AI in higher education, but also mitigate the peril of AI. We must be decisive, we must be intentional, we must have urgency. But it can't be business as usual. It will take academic leadership, it will take decisiveness, it will take intentionality. No gods, no glory. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mutambara. I'm sorry I had to ask you to reduce the talk, but I think it's of time. But I think we can answer some of the questions you might have and leave it to the audience. Sure. Thank you very, very much. Professor Naidu, is there anything you want to add? No? Okay. So, Prof. Mutambara, I think thank you for your very insightful, thought-provoking, provocative talk, and I'm sure it will raise many questions for all of us. I think you've laid out the challenges for what it means to be in academia and for humanities. And also, I think you've clearly outlined what the challenges are going forward. I think a couple of years back when the previous VC was in place and we had the 4IR, there was a lot of challenge and worry and resistance amongst academics about the 4IR. 5 years later, we're looking at AI and the challenges that poses to us. So we can't rest on our laurels as academics. There's always something, like Prof. Mutambara said, to how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And as we go forward with the new changing landscape that's coming forward. So the comments online has already been excellent talk. It would be really helpful to have a more of these with a deeper dive into the utilization and mitigation strategies. I think in the interest of time, but I'm sure Prof. Mutambara can perhaps elaborate on that a little bit later. Also very insightful talk and an excellent discussion. If you're unable to pose your question online, perhaps you can write it in the chat and I will read it out.
I'm pretty much that I'm using the AI, somehow as a professor, somehow as a researcher, somehow as my jobs that now I'm doing here. But what I'm just looking for this is that how much in UJ the AI has been used, especially those higher education that you mentioned. Even I took some picture because that was my interesting part. So how much it had been used and what is the future of the using AI in UJ? Thank
you. That one, I might have to defer to the Dean to give us some examples of AI in the humanities. I don't know, you want to comment on that, Dean? Or the experiences or the conversations about AI in the humanities?
Ragnar can respond. I think, sorry, my mind's a complete blank at the moment. But there are many researchers that are undertaking research in this particular area. I think, so it was very interesting. Sorry, I was busy typing you, so I wasn't actually concentrating on your question. But my own doctoral student has done work on the use of AI in migration and agriculture, and how AI is actually using and transforming the agricultural landscape and replacing labor in the agricultural fields as well.
Okay, maybe I can just say with Bo, I think that we are not using AI in the most broadest sense. We are seeing our students accessing AI through like ChatGPT, etc., to try and help with assessments, etc. We are trying to manage AI more than anything else, but we do have use of bots. We do have us encouraging them to become more familiar with AI use. But in the humanities, we are still managing AI rather than using it in a more vibrant way. And I think that is the challenge going forward. So it's still something that we are working on. There are some centers that are doing work and research on AI use. So a lot of it is research-based. But my question to Prof. Mutambara is really about, I think that we moved from in a different way. We started with the broader context. I think there's a little bit of tension in the way we talk about AI use and going forward. There's a lot of emphasis on resilience and personal adaptability and challenges to institutions. But as you said, the use of AI, the use of 4IR technology broadly is really concentrated in the hands of the powerful, globally speaking. There's already a growing divide between countries that are using it in a particular way, and it's not being used for the betterment of the world and society. You know, just as you talked about the last 5 years being dramatically favorable in terms of AI use and sophistication, we're also looking at a world that is intent on wars and aggressive ways of resolving issues. So the point I wanted to make to you, a question I want to ask you is, will we ever be able to use AI for the betterment of society? Because that's not what we see going on. So AI is so currently it's not accessible in a progressive way for most African countries. So I thought you would really be looking at Africa in relation to the world and who owns whom, who controls the technologies. So in 20 years' time, are we going to be further away or are we going to be able to see any benefits on the African continent, even our own South African context?
Thank you. And I think my own words somehow be particular about UJ. Now we have that plagiarism where you can cross-check. So if you have a student submit an essay, then you have to run it through that so that we can dictate the percentage of the use of AI. But one of our staff did something. He sat on his own and generated, about few paragraphs. Then he used AI to generate few paragraphs. Then he ran the two, through the plagiarism system. The one the AI generated, it picked 40% AI use. But the one he wrote by himself, it picked 30% AI use. So to what extent can AI counter AI? Because it's still the same AI that we are using. Can we really rely on that? Thank you. And the example you also gave, how you can mitigate in a classroom by asking your student to present orally and all of that. That's applicable to a small class. In a case you have about 500 students in your class, or maybe even just 200 or 150, it is exceedingly difficult to ask for oral defense of what they have submitted. So those are where the challenges are. And I hope, since you have published many books as well, you'll be able to intervene. Thanks, Prof.
Yes. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yes. My question to Professor is Africa not supposed to be worried that they are not participating in the interplanetary business? We see SpaceX lifting rockets to space. We see the Chinese are also doing the same. NASA is doing the same. Why can't Africa also participate in this space business?
Thank you so much, Professor, for your talk. I guess my question is around how can humanities be part of the development of AI? So in the way that I see it, you have scientific development, and then you have the very, questions that we in humanities could ask, questions around ethics in our specific disciplines like philosophy or theology. How could we actually be more involved in how AI's trajectory and be at the center of those conversations and not work in silos where we have development and we speak to it retrospectively?
Okay. The last one, we must not just be consumers of AI. We must create AI systems. We must create AI tools. We must do the AI research. In addition to using the applications that are available, but we must also be creators of AI systems. That we need to do that. And we are not doing enough of that. We must make sure our own languages, our own cultures are getting the AI systems. Zulu, Xhosa, Shona, Ndebele. Let us use these languages in AI systems, and so that we can become part of the solution. And look at the 5 layers, even in terms of the chips. Yes, we might not have the capacity to do the design and the manufacturing of GPUs, but why don't we negotiate and say to NVIDIA, we have the critical minerals in Africa, we have the rare earth minerals in Africa, can we partner? 60% of global reserves of cobalt are in the DRC, 60% cobalt. And you know that there's a big war now trying to get lithium for the batteries. Zimbabwe has lots of lithium. And then when you say rare earth minerals, which are part of critical minerals, we have 30% of global reserves in terms of critical minerals. So all those are ways and means of leveraging our participation. But we're participating in the entire 5 layers: energy, data centers. On data centers, NVIDIA is partnering with Cassava, Steve Masiwa's company, to bring data centers to Africa and to bring the GPUs by setting up what are called AI factories. So we need to be players. The issue about space, that's why I emphasize that AI is just one of many. There is in the list I gave you, there's space technologies, there's quantum computing, there's synthetic biology. So we must be participating in space technologies and think in terms of being a multi-planetary civilization. So the African must not only deal with agriculture and mining and education and healthcare. It's important, but space is also important, space technologies. So we must find our way into AI, our way into space technologies, and engage with this idea of a multi-planetary civilization as propagated by Elon Musk. Then the issue of plagiarism, you never win with this thing, because the AI system can actually trick your plagiarism check. So the checker must continuously improve. If you're not careful, it won't pick it up. And so it's a moving target. It's a moving target. But what I want to make sure you don't do is to ban the technology. Find a way to work with it. How can I become a better teacher because of AI? How can I become a better professor because of AI? How can I become a better researcher because of AI? How can I become a better student because of AI? How can I become a better medical doctor because of AI? It's called human augmentation. So I think it's a better approach. Yes, we need to protect critical thinking, but the protection cannot come from a plagiarism checker or the AI checker, because you can always find a way around. Even my own model that I gave you of the 20 points, 40 points, and so on, you can use AI to do a critique of an AI system. So if I say to the student, give me a critique of the AI system, they can use an AI system to do a critique. So use an AI to improve an AI. So there's never one standard answer. It's going to be a moving target. What it means is it can't be business as usual for you as a professor. What we used to do before can't work now. You go to be creative, you go to find a way, just like the maths teacher who used to just give numbers to be calculated, had to be very creative about mathematics. You give a word question, you're traveling from Joburg to Cape Town, you stop, and so you explain. And when you're solving the problem, you have to have steps that don't require calculation, steps. And then the calculator is required right at the end. So maths is protected from the calculator. Your task is going to be very difficult because the AI can work against your solutions. So it's work in progress and it's a moving target. Dean, you're very right. It's a tough world. We can't leave human development to Silicon Valley. We have to actively say as Africans, how do we link AI to human development? How do you use AI to have societal impact? How do you use AI to solve our problems? What are our problems? Poverty, hunger, healthcare, sanitation, gender, all those things, and then be intentional in terms of applying the technology. If you leave it to Google, leave it to Anthropic, leave it to OpenAI, they will not do that. So the African must say, I want to have agency. I have problems of poverty. I have problems of hunger. I have problem of quality of education. I have problems of access to education. How do I use AI to improve access to education? How do you use AI to improve access to healthcare? So which means the technology now becomes a platform to be used by us to solve our problems. You can't leave that to Silicon Valley because they are trying to make money. You saw the numbers that I presented, but we're saying we want to solve the SDGs using AI. We want sustainability using AI. We want societal impact using AI. For Africa, for example, what I've done for Africa is I've done the study about 5 countries, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Rwanda, and Mauritius. In outside Africa, I've studied China, India, Singapore, Malaysia, and UAE to understand what they're doing in terms of AI vision, AI strategy, and AI execution. So we can learn from each other as Africans and also learn from others in the global south. So every African country must have an AI vision, an AI strategy, and an AI implementation matrix. That's how we can move and make sure that the Africans become beneficiaries of the AI revolution. Those are the key questions. Resilience, we need resilience at every level. The organization must be resilient. The organization must be imaginative as an institution, but more importantly, the individual must learn how to learn how to think, learn how to unlearn, learn how to relearn. And more importantly, adaptability is important. Imagination is important. Critical thinking is important, but more importantly now under AI is what we call computational thinking. It's a new way of thinking being championed by MIT and Georgia Tech. So resilience is a function of failure. So failure must be embraced as a learning opportunity. You must improve your return on failure. So I'll stop there and see whether there are any more questions.
Online. Prof. Graham. Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there, Prof. Thank you so much for that talk. I was quite taken by your enthusiasm and energy. I was also, I thought you kind of painted an interesting picture of the sort of, dark side and the possibilities of AI. The dark side also including, that AI requires these vast amounts of water, land, energy, that it's been used for death, essentially, for war. There's techno-feudalism. I mean, even this thing that was called open AI, which was meant to be an open model, right, is now proprietary, is closed. It's, it's owned by a few. But I just wanted to maybe challenge the definition of intelligence here, because read from a post-colonial or decolonial angle, I don't think that what we can call AI is genuinely intelligence. Yes, Western ontologies do describe and present intelligence as disembodied. I mean, there's obviously the Cartesian divide, I think, therefore I am. But I am somewhat surprised to see African critics uncritically describing AI as intelligence, and even saying that AI is soon going to be more intelligent than Einstein, or these kind of European ideas of what is intelligence. And the reason I find this odd is because we have a long history in which the concept of intelligence has been used for racist purposes, right? To present Black and brown people as possessing less intelligence. And I think also here of the colonial history of IQ tests, also a recent published article that actually had to be retracted, in which a group of colored women were subjected to bizarre tests on computers and then presented as lacking in cognitive skills by a group of white women authors. And the paper certainly became a scandal and had to be withdrawn. So I'm also surprised to hear talk of less intelligent species. And I think that this smacks of a paradigm of control and dominance that also speaks to histories of colonialism and enslavement, which is kind of out of touch with an era of mass extinction, really, where humans have spun so far out of control that we are actually destroying the planet. Is this actually intelligent? Does this mean we're more intelligent than other beings on the planet, other embodied beings? Also disturbing to hear Elon Musk being held up as some kind of model for young people in Africa. Like, he did not succeed at first, so don't give up, given his quite racist and even arguably fascist views. And there's also this long history of decolonial theory that challenges and resists the idea that intelligence can be disembodied. It actually challenges this Cartesian idea of intelligence being, I think, therefore I am, right? Or I synthesize information, which is what AI does. I read and I synthesize, and therefore I am. Because if we think about Frantz Fanon, the very powerful last words of Black Skin, White Mask is, "Oh, my body, make of me always a man who questions." And I think the point there is that you need to be embodied to question. And there also are African and indigenous knowledge systems which are embodied technologies, right? Yeah, that's why I am always a bit cautious of this use of the word intelligence in the framing of artificial intelligence. But the second thing is to do with the context of Africa. I mean, when the continent has been subjected to such a history of extreme extractivism, right? Where you've got children now working on mines in the Congo to power this AI and the whole 4IR. I think isn't it somewhat naive to say, oh, Africa can simply leverage its rare earth minerals now? Because, I mean, what happened to Patrice Lumumba when he was going to nationalize the uranium mines during the Cold War? He was killed and the Congo was plunged into instability, which enables the current looting of its resources. So I'm just thinking, like, how is this really going to play out practically? Is it possible not for us to work towards some sort of genuinely open AI, not the open AI that is called open AI now falsely, and to make that only for the benefit of people and the planet, really? I think basically we need policy around this, and not the current system of just this discourse of inevitability. We need to inevitably embrace AI and which is being imposed on us, by the few, essentially. So sorry, that was a bit of a long question, but really to do with the question of intelligence in the phrase artificial intelligence, and then, just in the context of this long history of extractivism, how can Africa really leverage its rare earth minerals? I mean, how is this even possible? Because, thanks.
Sorry to cut you short. I think, is there any other last questions we can take? I think there's a hand over there. And online, if there's one final question before we conclude, before Prof. Mutambara gives the final comments. Anybody else? No? So the lights have gone out here in Ubuntu Chambers, so...
Again, thank you for a really interesting and inspiring on many levels talk. My question relates to what Prof. Graham was saying earlier. I don't think this is on. But, okay. It's really around the extractivism, and can we use that as a model for regulatory processes that can support Africa to truly leverage our energy capacity in this field? So it really relates back to what Lucy was saying, but it's more about what are we doing about the human rights abuses in the light of that extractivism years down the line and clearly to come. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Prof. Mutambara?
Professor Graham, right?
Professor Graham, yeah. Lucy Graham.
Yeah, hey, Lucy, you go to wait for my book. I've got a book for you already in construction. My book is called Africa's Critical Minerals, the socio-economic strategy for the continent. So already we are addressing this, but we don't believe in extraction. We want Africa to move up the global value chain. We don't want to be selling raw copper, raw diamonds, raw critical minerals to China or America. We want to be able to say as Africans, these diamonds, this copper, these critical minerals are processed on the continent to drive the African economy. So in other words, I'm one step ahead of you, Graham, on that subject. And your question as well, I'm actually got a book which is coming out in November, which is addressing the very subject of saying, to what extent can the African leverage their critical minerals in this revolution? You know why? When I say AI, when I say energy transition, when I say mobile telephony, when I say defense electronics, when I say advanced manufacturing, all these industries are driven by critical minerals. They're driven by rare earth minerals. And we have 30% on the continent. And as I said earlier on, DRC has 60% of global reserves of cobalt. The question is, how do we as Africans leverage our mineral resource base to take advantage of these many revolutions taking place? And the answer is in the processing and value addition and the production of added products. But anyway, the book will address those concerns around extractive policies. We don't believe in extraction. Now, coming to the issue, listen, I'm an engineer who's also a revolutionary, a soldier from the streets. I'm very clear about colonialism, imperialism, and the way intelligence discussions have been used to enslave Africans. I'm clear about that. But here I'm saying to you, right now, these technologies are taking place. There's ways and means in which as Africans we can use AI, or whatever you want to call it, to address matters of hunger, matters of poverty, matters of sanitation. It is obscene and unreal that in the year 2026, you have a man called Elon Musk who's a trillionaire. He was a trillionaire in June. He's now a bit lower than trillion now. It's about $800 billion. And you still have people going to bed hungry. How can we use this technology, which has made other people massively rich, how can we use it to make sure that we don't have a thing called hunger on the continent, a thing called starvation or poverty or poor sanitation? That cannot be addressed by external players, but the Africans themselves embracing technology. Now, do we call it intelligence? And listen, fire was a technology for everyone. The wheel was a technology for everyone. The steam engine was a technology for everyone. Electricity was a technology for everyone. Of course, the steam engine was used to enslave people. The wheel enslaved people, fire to burn people. What we're saying, why don't we use fire for our benefit? Why can't we use the wheel for our advancement? Why can't we use the steam engine to improve the quality of life of our people? Why can't we use electricity to improve the quality of life of our people? In the same vein, Professor Graham, I'm saying, these technologies, whatever you call them, I'm not interested in intelligence in board, I could care less. There now is technology out there. Can I use that technology to address poverty? Yes, I can. Can I use that technology to address water access? Yes, I can. Can I use that technology to improve access to education? Yes, I can. I can if I have urgency. I can if I become a player in the revolution. So, insofar as I'm concerned, I'm more worried about urgency. The African having urgency in this revolution. The African, if we're not careful, in the first revolution, we're enslaved. In the second, we're colonized. In the third, we are under neocolonialism. We are saying the fourth industrial revolution, the AI revolution, is a unique opportunity for us to have urgency and say, we are going to make this AI work for us. We are going to take charge as Africans. Yes, there's potential for it to be used against us, but I am passionate about the possibility of us linking AI to human development, linking technology to human development, to improve the quality of life of Africans. And so it's important that we understand that whether intelligence can be disembodied and so on, and also don't romanticize yourself as human beings. I know human beings are very arrogant. They can't imagine a machine being smarter than them. I've just demonstrated to you that in the definition of humanity's last examination, we as human beings are performing poorer than a machine. And in the future, there will be artificial general intelligence. In the future, there will be artificial superintelligence. You can romanticize history and colonialism and imperialism. I'm an engineer, I'm a technologist. I'm saying that we can build a machine that can do things that are normally ascribed to human beings. Whether we like it or not, but what I'm passionate about is why don't we use that to improve our lives as Africans, have urgency. That's what I'm pushing for. As I conclude, Professor, I want to say this. Let us take it personally as Africans, as people, to say, let us have collective success. Collective success is more important than individual success. South Africa must succeed as a country. Africa must succeed as a continent. The Global South must succeed as the Global South. And technology is one way we can try to do that collective success, because our dignity as Africans is linked to the dignity of every African. You'll never be respected as an African until Africa has done well as a continent. Why don't we use AI to achieve collective success? That is what I leave you with, to make sure that we can use the technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Professor Mutambara, and thank you to all our colleagues and participants, both here in person and online. I wish there had been more participants here, but given the circumstances today, I just hope that you are all safe and warm wherever you are. Thank you, Prof. Mutambara. I think this is the start of many conversations. Lots of food for thought. I don't know if I'm more panicky now than I was at the beginning of your talk, but yes, we have a long road to go ahead and a lot to talk about and think about. And as academics, our work is never complete. We have a small token of appreciation. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Prof. Mutambara, for always stepping up and willing to come and deliver talks for our seminar series. It leaves us with lots of provocative thoughts and thinking about where we have to go. Thank you also to our distinguished guests for being present. I really appreciate it. Please take care, look after yourselves, and keep safe. Thank you. Take care. Bye.